it's Steve speaking from sjkastro.com, and on today's video what I want to talk about is observatories, and more specifically how to site your observatory, how to set it with respect to the cardinal points of the compass, and also maybe to counter some objections that people make with regards to building an observatory in the first place. For instance, one of the common objections that I hear are, I haven't got a southern horizon, or I haven't got a western horizon, or you know, the skies are too bright and I can't justify building one. You know, many of these sort of reasons are cited, and some of them no doubt are very genuine, but to some extent some of them can be dispelled as well. And let's just revisit the basics here. The reason why we're building the observatory is to get a situation whereby we can get imaging as quickly as possible, or observing as quickly as possible. We want to basically go outside when we get home from work or get home from school or wherever we've been. We want to get the roof rolled off and we want to go, right? We want to get the telescope going and we want to get connected, and we want to get looking at the stars and planets and the moon, or even the sun potentially, if that's what you're interested in. The thing is, the whole idea of the observatory is for it to be quick and easy to get up and running. Okay, so that's one of the things that we want to do. Now, there are many different types of observatories, and we're going to talk about this and talk about mine behind me in a few moments. But there are many different types. For instance, my observatory is a roll-off type. There are the traditional dome types, and sometimes, for some people, it may be that you just want like a little roll-off shed where you can cover the telescope, so that even if you're not ready to go immediately, it just reduces your time. You can get things like polar alignment done. You can have the actual tripod and the mount already connected and set up. So there are many things that we can do to try to get our time to go time down a little bit, and that's the whole idea and what we're trying to achieve. So with that said, what I want to do is to show you my observatory behind me, show you some of the things that I was thinking about when I built it, some of the compromises I've had to make, and then you can relate that to your own circumstances. So with that said, let's go and have a look. So guys, this is my observatory. As I said a few moments ago, it's the roll-off shed type where the roof rolls off, and we can see the door is in the middle in my particular observatory, and I've built it on a concrete slabbed base that is actually set into concrete, those slabs. And looking around it, you can see that I've got a plastic roof on there, and here's the rear of the observatory with the drop down flap facing the south. Now I just want to quite quickly show you about those compromises that I talked about a few moments ago. So in my case, this is, and I'll show you inside the observatory in a moment, that between the house and the tree is the meridian line, so that's due south. You can see that my southern horizon is blocked by that house, and to the southwest we've got those additional houses over there. To my north, or actually to the northeast, I've got next door neighbour's house, and to my west I've got my own house. So objects like Leo and Orion will cross across here, and they will set around about here at around about, or not set, but they'll disappear from view at around about 20 degrees in altitude. This is by no means ideal, and this is what I was talking about earlier on. Sometimes we just have to make do with what we've got, guys. Yeah, there's always reasons not to do something. We can always think of reasons not to do something. It's much more difficult to think of reasons to do something, right? So that's my observatory. The roll-off to the north, which is the way that most observatories are built. The shed or the roof rolls off to the north, because most planets, etc., are going to be at their highest point, or constellations, or anything for that matter in the sky, is going to be at its highest across to the south, when it crosses that meridian line that I spoke about. So always, or if at all possible, try to build your observatory so it faces towards the south, yeah, and the roof rolls off to the north. So just to finish off the point about the roll-off roof type of observatory, which this one is, compared to some other options that you could do. For instance, another common type of observatory is the dome one that people traditionally think of when they think of an observatory. The problem with the dome type is, as well as their costs, because they're very, very expensive, is that They are quite conspicuous and a little bit ugly even in a residential setting. A bit conspicuous, a bit sort of like come rob me, I've got loads of expensive stuff in here sort of look that they give off. Whereas this is much more of like a regular shed with a door on it and everything. So it's less conspicuous. Yeah, people could think it was just a regular garden building and it wouldn't bother them. Again, I'll talk about it, I'll touch upon the point, but I've got quite significant security here as well. I've put in there. No building is going to be 100% secure. No matter how much we try to bolster the security, we can deter the casual thief, but we can't deter a professional, right? It's just the way of the world, and we have to do as much as we can to try to deter people and just to bolster the security a little bit. Okay guys, so now I've opened the door of the observatory. Let's go in. First thing we can see down there is a pier, and this is a concrete piece of plastic waste pipe that gets buried in the ground. It's 6 inches in diameter, or I think that's around about 150 millimeters in diameter. It's full of concrete with some rebar threaded rod in there, which sinks down into the ground about a metre or about 3 feet into the ground. The observatory pier, as I said, goes down into the ground, which you can see down there, and at no point does this pier actually touch the observatory. At no point does that happen. And the reason for that is that if we start walking around on this floor, clambering around at night time, or wind starts to blow the observatory, we do not want that to be transferred to the pier and hence to the telescopes above it. And again guys, I'll talk about what these telescopes are, etc. on some other video. So let's push the roof back. The roof is on those rollers that you can see over there, and it can be just pushed back with one finger. Remember what I said earlier, we want to be up and running as quickly as possible. So again, my telescopes and the southern horizon blocked by that house, and to the south west, yeah, and to the west itself, my house, yeah, and stuff is, you know, a Leo and Orion and all that sort of stuff is set in here. So I've got a viewing PC here, which is connected to my home network via a gig copper cable, and I've got another PC here which controls all of the stuff that's happening on top with the telescope, yeah, and that connects via a high quality USB hub that I've got here on top of the telescopes, yeah. So this whole thing moves as one, connected via this like loop of cable to the imaging laptop. So I've got electricity that I've run in here via armored cable to a distribution box. Focus please. So a distribution box that I've got there. Okay, that's my distribution box. And a source of paraphernalia for storing stuff, etc. Okay, and you need plenty of storage room as well in an observatory. So again, the idea is that if we've got rain clouds coming over, we can rapidly close the roof. Yeah, we can get it closed, and of course it's all measured up, so I know it's not going to collide into anything. We can get the roof closed, yeah, all locked off again, and we're done. And at the end of the night, let's say you've been imaging or you've been observing, and it's 1 o'clock in the morning, and you're tired and you want to go to bed. You just want to roll the roof off, switch everything off down here, and away you go, back to bed or up to bed. Yeah. So yeah, observations. Right. So some other things that I really advise. You can get these like rubber tiles that go in gymnasiums. Very good idea, powerful idea in case you drop an expensive eyepiece onto the floor. Yeah, that's going to fare a lot better dropping onto that. Although you don't want to drop it at all, it's going to fare a lot better dropping it onto that than it would be dropping it onto concrete. I highly advise, if it's possible, to wire in. I highly advise it's possible to wire in category 5 Ethernet cable if you can. You can see the wind blowing my observatory roof there. So let me just put that back. And that's it, done. Roof locked down again. So I highly focus again, please. So I highly recommend running in Cat5 cabling. And I used to be, many years ago, an electrical engineer. So I've installed my electrics there with an armoured cable that runs alongside there into my garage over there. And I'm fully up and running. Yeah, so I can power the whole observatory up, I can be out, and I can get running in no time at all. On my wall there, this thing here, in case you wonder what that was, that's my flats panel to take my flat frames for when I'm doing my imaging, and that is connected via there to a little Arduino device, which in turn is connected to by a USB cable into the PC there. Little PC. It's not a laptop. It's a small media server, which it's plenty fast. It's an i3 computer. It's plenty fast enough. And I can then take flat panels with this, flat frames, sorry, with that, under the control of Sequence Generator Pro software. So it's pretty good, and I'm pleased with things. You need, again, plenty of shelves, that sort of thing. I've got lighting in here if I need to turn that on. Yeah, I normally set it to red. It's a blue at the moment, but yeah, I've got lighting on here, and I've got pretty much everything that I need. There's a Dobsonian type scope there. Again, plenty of things like electrical sockets. We need plenty of those. Again, this is all wired, as I said earlier on, back into my garage, and it's actually ultimately connected to a 3-pin plug in there. So the whole observatory is just one device. I've got my back masks there, look, you can see. So yeah, all in all, you know, a lot of weight there to counterbalance these telescopes I've got here too. I wish I would have made the observatory another 6 inches or 125, 150 millimeters higher. You can see there that that's quite a tight clearance when the roof rolls off. Yeah, it only clears by a little bit. I wish it wasn't like that, and I wish I could, I wish that roof was 6 inches higher, but it is what it is. What I could do is I could angle grind a bit off of this if I needed to, bring the mount plate down a little bit, but it's always a compromise, because if I were to do that and drop the height of the telescope, that means it's not going to see as easily over the walls of the observatory. So I've got myself like an observing chair here. I've got whiteboards, I can write my observations or any plans. Got the telescopes in here. I've got like a bookcase that I made with all my gear and all my stuff, sorted paraphernalia with my girlfriend and my daughter. And I like to, every time I go abroad, I like to buy a little tile or something to put in here. Cuba and Miami and all sorts of places. And there's my 10-100-1000 switch, which is connected to some stuff in the observatory and also back to the house again through a duct that I put buried in the ground. So all in all, I'm very happy with it, and it's working very well for me. So I hope you found that useful. Again, as I've said before, my situation is not perfect either. So I've got that to worry about there, the house to the northeast. I've got my own house as well, and I've got those. I'm in the middle of a residential area. It's a nice residential area. It's not particularly busy, but residential it is, and as a consequence, I've got to deal with a certain amount of light pollution here. I'd say the skies are about Bortle 4 or 5, that sort of area. And that guy there has got, sorry, focus again please. That guy there has got those security lights, and they do come on sometimes, and if I'm imaging, that can be a bit annoying, and it wrecks those exposures. But it is what it is, right? You can't expect the world to change just because I like astronomy, so it's the way it is. So on that note, guys, thank you very much for watching this video. If you found it useful, again, it's some thoughts, some ideas about what I did when I built this. And the observatory itself was built by Home Observatory UK. I built all of I built the pier. I did everything myself other than the actual building of the observatory. Now I'm pretty handy as a person, but because of my circumstances, I'm a single dad, it would have taken me forever to have built it, and I just ain't got the time, and I wanted something up and running as quickly as possible. So it doesn't look like we're going to be doing much observing tonight, is it, by those clouds? But hey ho, this is the UK, guys, and that's what we have to contend with. So Okay, thanks for watching, and I will see you on my next video. All the best, guys, and clear skies.